Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So, challenge appears, episode 2, and we have one of the suggestions from the poll from, I believe it was last week. And first of all, Ishizu Tier Elements came out on top, but I'm waiting it out a little bit. As you know, the OCG got their new Forbidden and Limited list. As you know, Splite got a big hit. It's still a top contender, even though without Totally Awesome. They have other options, but Tier Elements is definitely the top deck currently in the OCG, the most representation. So I'm waiting a bit on that. But this deck was also one of the suggestions from that poll. And it's a Monarch variant, so Monarch FTK from back in 2016. This is the, was about to say the winner, but that's not the case. It's a top deck list. I believe it was top 8 or top 4? Top 8, I think. From YCS Prague back then, so back in 2016, where this particular player was playing... Came it out of the blue? I think so. It was somewhat unexpected. Like Monarch FTK. Well, Monarch FTK. Like Monarch here, or the Monarch cards, the few Monarch cards, they were basically the draw engine, or a draw engine, one of the draw engines of the deck. So what's the FTK part? The FTK part, it's one of the gazillion variants from... you know, Magical Explosion. Magical Explosion states that it will deal burn damage to your opponent equal to the amount of spell cards in your graveyard times 200. Obviously, one Magical Explosion is not going to be enough. You need the other trap card in the deck, and that's the one here in my hand on the left. That's Life Equalizer. Also an old school card, I can't remember which set it was from, but the card states that if there is the difference or a difference of at least 8,000 or more life points between both players, then both players' life points will become 3,000, and of course that's between the range of one Magical Explosion. So that's I guess the game number 1 core strategy of the deck. You want to go first and go for the Magical Explosion FTK featuring Life Equalizer. So it's kind of straightforward. You're playing so many draw cards. It's very similar to Exodia, right? You're drawing so many cards. This doesn't really matter. Royal Magical Library kinda makes the game much easier. Again, very similar to Exodia, where if you draw an early Royal Magical Library, it will gain you those pluses much sooner, right? And it's basically the only normal summon of the deck. Going second, on the other hand, that could be a bigger problem, because especially back in 2016, it was basically, you know, Monarch Mirror, well, it was early Monarchs, Monarch Mirror matches, Cosmo as well. Were there any other decks? Probably. But like going second against a trap-heavy deck, that's problematic. As you saw, the particular player decided like not to go for a gimmicky side deck. It was just, you know, side decking in regular domain Monarchs, as you saw. Like, well, you know, the other Idea, Adel, Stormfort, just going for regular domain lock. Because again, you know, people weren't really expecting this. And, correct me if I'm wrong, back in 2016, players weren't running too many hand traps. I'm not sure, was Ash Blossom popular? I can't remember. But as you'll be seeing, the deck definitely struggles, even though back then, back in 2016, this deck, like the Monarch FTK, you know, was considered being super consistent, definitely, and one of the most consistent FTKs up until that point, because, you know, the win rate of the FTK was so high, because again, you were running so many draw cards, and you see, even though Tellers had like, what was it, 3 back row, one of them being Breakthrough Skill, Impermanence, you know, the old school Impermanence negating a library, that's fine. You know, it's not really needed, but, you know, those extra draws definitely help out. So, yeah, that's one thing, is that, as I mentioned before, Life Equalizer states that the difference between both players' life points need to be at least 8k. So how do you do it? As you saw, you're playing 3 chicken game, you know, pay 1,000 life points to draw 1 card. That's how it is. Plus, you have also an old school field spell called this one, Pseudo Space. It you know, banishes a field spell from the graveyard, and then it will copy that field spell's effect. So it's basically you're running 6 copies of Chicken Game plus Terraforming. Toon table speaks for itself, and then, you know, upstart. Upstart gives your opponent a 1000 life points. So by doing this, outside maybe going second, you know, battle phase, suiciding your monsters into your opponent's monsters, it's not that hard to, you know, get that difference of at least 8000 life points or more. But here, going first against Sword Soul was definitely needed. As you see, or will be seeing, the deck definitely struggles against more recent decks. It speaks for itself. Any FTK-oriented strategy, you know, it's super vulnerable to disruption. I'm looking at Ash mainly, Ash Blossom, Imperm to some extent, Droll, even though Droll is not in the main deck. For Sword Soul here from the Cross-Banlist Cup. But, yeah, no chance, right? And, of course, like going second against one of the more recent decks, like 2020, 2021, 2022, where decks are, you know, focused on getting out multiple negations, Griffin, Fog Blades, multi-omni negations like Emancipator. Again, I'm honest, going second against this deck, you're not going to win it. Definitely not. I mean, the Emancipator, Dragite for a spell and trap negation. Baroness is not in there, but, you know, there are multiple negations, multiple Appaloosa, even though it's not that important. You know, one spell and trap negation. Dweller might be something. I don't know. Tornado Dragon? Yeah, Tornado Dragon definitely good. Anyway, so going first, and again, it's child's play. It's really not that hard. Dark Ruler no more is there, but it's not going to do it that much. So I'm one loss in, and as you know, 2 losses, then the game is over. Splight in the last episode won 5 games, I think. 5-2, if I'm not mistaken. Should be. So 7 games in total. But, you know, like the decks will be different. So this should be, you know, game, no? I need to get that at least a lot of spells plus a difference. I need 1 upstart, 1 chicken game, or 1 pseudo space, and yeah, the game is over. So next one against Chaos, and look at that field. On first sight, that doesn't really seem too threatening, but read Kaiku or Kiko or Kaisu. Kiko states that your opponent can't banish any cards from the graveyard, so that's a problem. I can't banish Pantheism from the graveyard. Okay, that's not really that big of a deal, but no pseudo space, and that's a problem, because again, I want to get that big difference of life points, but I could... Or am I sacrificing my battle phase with, like, doesn't cards from the sky read that I need to sacrifice my battle phase? I'm not sure. Otherwise, you know, you could crash with library into the Kiko for some extra damage, but I'm not sure if that's going to be, or that would be enough for that 8k difference. But again, I can't use pseudo space, but this should be okay, right? Cards from the sky, getting at least 4 new draws, and obviously library. Without library, this was a no-go, probably. But okay, I still have a chance. And 2 sets, we could expect maybe 1 Typhoon, so I need to set everything right. There's like, you know, the worst case scenario, if there is indeed a Typhoon set, they hit Magical Explosion or Life Equalizer, and I... never set your good card in the middle. So it gets destroyed, and yeah, the game is over. I can't deal enough damage. The Monarch engine is, you know, not really important. Game number 2, game number 3, it's much more important. You could cite in Domain, for example. But nope, it's we see Order also, and of course we'll probably deck out if that wasn't the case, right? So it is what it is. Monarch FTK, right? So again, if you have any suggestions for the Challenger Appears, next series tier elements Ishizu version should be coming up soon. We're getting more deck lists from the OCG. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Lead them signing out. Peace.